And live.
Hello, everyone. We are back with presentation number 2 for Mrs. Deal. We're group 6. I'm Elizabeth, and then my teammates are Liam and Ohm. And just a reminder of our project, just a quick description. We are building a poker card dispensing device that will simultaneously have a live website feed that can track what cards are dealt to each person and displayed for spectators to be able to watch the game in real time. And then it will also dispense the 5 cards for the flop, the turn, in the river, and flip them.
So one of our main goals was the camera tracking and website display. And with this, we will be using the ESP32 camera, which will be positioned right underneath where the deck of cards is being dispensed. And we plan on pausing the card as it's being dispensed so the camera has time to take an image, send it to the server, and process it using a Python program. Where we've reached with this so far is we've got a functional ESP32 camera and a preliminary Python program, which is utilizing template matching to find the suit and number of the card. However, we do have some problems with this Python program. We are working to still refine it and have it be more robust. And also we need the program to be able to identify the suit and number and not just find the location of the closest match. And also we've been unable to set up the server thus far, which can communicate with the ESP cam servo motors and run the Python code with the images. So if people have suggestions on how to move forward with that, we would love to hear them.
One of the main changes that we've been talking about is our mechanism for flipping cards during the deals of the flop, the turn, and the river. What we originally had thought was having some sort of motor to move upwards as one of the cards is being dealt out, stop it, and then flip it over onto the table. We've had a decent amount of issues working our servo motors, so we started thinking, what's an easier thing that we can do that's a lot more simple that might be able to flip the card instead. So we came up with an idea of the card holder having an extendable arm that when the cards are shot out, hopefully the card itself as it falls would turn to one side through the arm and turn over. One of the issues we might have that is that it might be inconsistent, but if we can get it to work consistently, it would be a lot easier to do than another extension arm. So for our next interview, we thought we had a decent amount of information as far as poker and what our consumers would want. So we decided to interview someone who had a lot more experience with mechanical design of machines. So one of my roommates specifically, Smeki Soon, has a lot of experience with working with motors and whatnot. So generally what we got from him is a lot of suggestions as far as minimizing our motor usage in general, which is pretty much one of the reasons why we kind of started abandoning our original flipping device, designing pieces that can accomplish multiple tasks with little change simplifies a lot of things. So if we can make something work for a lot of different things, that'd be much easier. And he's also able to give us a lot of good insight as far as what kind of structure would be most suited for our device, as far as the rotating platform itself, how we have that interact with our servo motor and everything else.
One of the things we learned over the last couple of weeks was that machine learning was incredibly difficult to implement for us. Our group had limited experience in this field, and thus we decided to move forward with more traditional computer vision techniques such as template matching. And thus far, we have only been able to test this using images from the web, which we can describe as perfect images. You can see them here. However, because the position of the camera will remain relatively constant, and there aren't that many changing variables as far as where the camera will expect to see the suit and number of a card, we expect this to carry over into reality, but we do have to do more testing in order to make sure this is the case. Also, with the Python program we have right now, we are taking a template of just the ace and the diamond, as you can see in this example. and then finding a location and putting a red bounding box around it. The program doesn't yet understand that this is an ace of diamonds. However, it is able to locate this position. So we need to further refine this program in order to make that happen. But it seems like the promising route at this point in time.
In terms of our bill of materials, we have ordered a couple more things since the last update. We needed to get some batteries and a battery holder, as well as new motors specifically for the rotating platform. And then for our Gantt chart, we will admit we're a bit behind our anticipated schedule, but before the quarter began, we knew that we had a pretty mechanical heavy goal. And so our initial testing was going to take up a significant amount of time. So we sort of did expect to have a bit of a bumpy first few milestones, but we're hoping to really, especially after getting through some of the midterms, this next upcoming week will really help us get back on track in terms of the assembling all of the different sort of three major different components of our project and actually getting them to work together. But right now we are, I guess I'll just say we're working on getting back on track and getting our components to be integrated into one cohesive project.
Finally, some questions for you guys. Main thing that we've been thinking about recently is the flipping of the cards, as we kind of mentioned earlier. It would be a lot simpler to have just one arm that kind of acts as almost a backboard to flip the cards over. But we kind of wanted to get some people's opinions as to whether that trade-off is worth the reliability of what a flipper would have. Of course, the bar itself would give a little bit more speed and simplicity, so it might be better overall for us and our realm of expertise as well. But would it be realistic to have to think of this as a possible consistent success of flipping cards over? And even if it isn't, does it matter? If we're just sending cards out anyway that are meant to be flipped over, it's okay if they may not be flipped over, as people planning could just flip them. Any other ideas how to flip cards would also be helpful. And secondly, our rotating platform is really going to be 2 discs connected by a servo motor. So discs will have minimal contact ideally, and the most of the weight will then, as we have it right now, be put onto the servo motor. We don't have as much experience with this, but would that possibly be an issue as far as our weight? There's not a lot of weight that we have. We just kind of have cards, the camera, the dev kit board itself, and whatever plastic we also have for the rest of the machine. But we kind of wanted to know if there are any other seamless ideas for rotation that would work better than just mounting it kind of on the servo itself.
Thank you. And please be sure to give us feedback. We'll greatly appreciate it.
Like and subscribe.